Welcome back.
That scared me so much.
We are we're just dripping with gratitude that you decided to spend just a couple minutes with us today.
Why do you word it so weirdly? Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, thank you for tuning. That's what I was trying to say. Gosh, I just couldn't find the words. But yeah, thanks for joining us today.
Today we chatted with Trevor Woodworth.
Exactly. It was
Our conversation went all over the place.
He's an interesting guy, I gotta say. Is that fair?
Yep.
He actually, when he showed up, he had
He's gonna be listening to this. He's never gonna call him.
I know. No, it was cool. I liked his outfit. He had like some neon orange camo pants that he got for Christmas, a Thrasher sweatshirt, and then like an orange beanie. It's just the most interesting combination I've ever seen. Just gold.
Anywho.
Yeah, we talked about what? Vaping, weed, the good stuff.
Did we talk about planets? Solar system?
Just very briefly, like 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Like what's beyond this our solar system?
Yeah.
Like what could alien life, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Anywho,
yeah.
it's a roller coaster.
It is. He had some interesting stuff to say, and I mean that genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
His opinions are different from ours,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd say they're fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely valid opinions.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Great person to talk to.
Yeah.
It was fun having him on here.
Sweet.
Yeah. We should wrap this up because it's getting long.
Yep. All right.
All right, bye.
Hopefully you like the episode. Trevor, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. You seemed very excited to get here.
Oh, yeah. I was, excited ever since you first told me I could come on the show.
Interesting. Fun time.
Cool.
Sick. So, you and I were discussing.
Yep.
Possibly discussing marijuana.
Yes.
How about vaping as well?
Okay. So what's the question?
Well, just your view on it.
All right.
Like, do you think, is it harmless?
I don't think it's harmless
Okay. So we agree there.
at all. you
Right.
know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually did a research paper on e-cigarettes. So I was just curious as to what your opinion on it was because I have a pretty formed opinion on it. I don't know what your opinion is.
Yeah, I don't know much about this, so I don't really have an opinion yet.
Oh, good
So-
times. Let me use that. Cool. So I guess do you want to start with that and then we'll move on to marijuana at some point? Are you
Sure.
cool?
Let's go
So from what I know, e-cigarettes are apparently very impactful on people's consumption of other drugs because it's a nicotine-based product. So you're consuming nicotine, which gets you addicted to nicotine, and then now you're addicted to nicotine, which is found in cigarettes, tobacco,
Mhm.
all that jazz. So that's the. So for me, that's bad.
I agree.
Great, we got there.
I know people who started out vaping that now just, rip cigarettes, and I'm like,
Right.
that's not good for you
And
by
that-
any means.
And
you
for
know?
people that don't rip cigarettes, that's mad props to you because
Yeah.
that's a hard.
I mean, I'm
road
not
to
saying-
travel.
Smoking cigarettes is obviously awful. You're inhaling
Yeah.
tar and all this other stuff, but I think that the nicotine-based vapes are also not great for you because basically anything that you're inhaling in your lungs is not meant to be there except for
Right.
the air that we breathe.
It's typical air.
All that stuff, regardless, even you can buy 0 milligram nicotine vapes and they'll still have warnings on them that tell you that they are made with ingredients that are known to cause cancer.
Yeah.
So in that sense, they're not healthy, but all of the studies that have been done, whatever, will tell you that like they're healthier than cigarettes.
Oh
and
yeah,
they're meant to
absolutely.
take people off of them, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, like all these young kids that are getting a hold of them end up just like smoking cigarettes because they're whatever. That's it's just like one thing leads to another.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it's even if you buy like the 0 milligram e-cigarettes, you still have that hand to mouth uh, process. So you're addicted in that sense, not
Yeah.
necessarily chemically addicted, but physically addicted. So, I mean, that's a very small chance that you'll become addicted to it, but still, it's still there. Yeah. And then there, even in e-cigarettes, not necessarily just regular combustible cigarettes, there's still a lot of, I guess, toxic chemicals. There are over 60 chemicals found in e-cigarettes, and over a dozen of those are carcinogenic, meaning cancerous. So that mixed with the fact that adolescents are picking them up is kind of a problem, because now the youth of America is becoming addicted to e-cigarettes, which could cause cancer, and we're trying to minimalize cancer in this country. So
Yes, sir.
I got a little off track there, got very
Amen.
preachy there, but that's my 2 cents from what I know. You said you don't know anything?
I do not know anything.
Okay,
Like I
well.
didn't know anything about like the chemicals or anything.
There are a lot of
Yeah.
it just happens when the nicotine fluid, the e fluid, is heated up. That just causes a bunch of crap to come out.
Oh, okay. And you're inhaling that as well.
Yeah, you're inhaling all that. So
Right.
cool.
That sucks.
Yeah, yeah, it does. So there's that. Do you guys
Mhm.
want to move on? I don't know if
Well, while we're on the topic,
let's get it.
I think we should go around and just ask the question: has anyone here ever used a vape before?
I have not.
No.
I own one.
Ah, I figured. Well, actually, I knew. I just didn't want to
Yeah.
point
So
it out.
I'll like describe that.
Yeah. Go for it.
Because like I don't want to sit here and seem like, like two-faced right now.
I don't want to. I don't want to.
I'm like sitting here like, yeah, like it's
like
bad
so
for you.
bad.
But,
And you're like, whoa.
But yeah, like I have one. So
Right.
I'll explain that. Basically when I was younger, this is like a little story from when I was
Let's
a
hear it.
child. My family used to have these like I guess decorations around the house that the you would pour water into them and then plug it into the wall, and it'd basically produce like water vapor, like steam, and it would
Uh-huh.
just like flow. And I was always like fascinated by them.
Like a dehumidifier.
Like not exactly. It's like a glorified one that like
Oh.
it's like all for decoration.
Oh.
Like,
Oh.
so you just like watch the steam flow and it's like real relaxing and everything. And
Okay.
I used to go over there
I
like
get that.
5 years old and just like go sit by it and try to like basically like do vape tricks.
Right.
Like,
Right. Like with your hands and try to like.
Yeah.
I
just
get
try
you,
to
I
like
see.
move the smoke around. I felt like I was like an airbender or something. You know what I mean? Like it was just like good times. And
Yeah,
I feel like
I get it. That's addicting for a kid.
yeah, the thing is like about smoke and everything like that. I think that there's just something like real like mesmerizing about it.
I can see that.
You know, like
Yeah.
and it's like soothing, I think, in a way, just to like watch that. So around the time I was probably 16, I got my hands on my first e-cig, but I was like definitely against trying to get hooked on nicotine because I know
Right.
how bad that is for you. Because like in addition to all the chemicals that are in e-cigs anyway, like the last thing I want is like an actual addiction. I don't want to
Yeah.
have like withdrawals and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So I got the 0 milligram juice, and for a while I quit. I just didn't want to, I guess, like be a kid with the vape for a while.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, well, honestly, like it's probably better for my health if I just like don't do it.
Yeah.
But a friend of mine reached out to me when we were, well, I was actually 18, so I was able to technically buy tobacco products and everything. And he was still 17 at the time. So he asked me if I could get him a e-cig, and I told him, yeah, like, if you just give me the money, like, I'll take you to the vape store and, like, we can get you whatever you
Right.
want, you know? So we drove down to East Bridgewater, and he got one, and he would let me use it every once in a while. And I was just thinking, like, I kind of, like, missed this. Like, I feel like it's, like, super satisfying just
Yeah.
to, like I said, just, like, watch the smoke and everything.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting the same one as him, and I've had it for a while now. But honestly, I haven't touched it for a while. Like, I wouldn't say, like, I use it all the time.
Right.
But, like, every once in a while, if I'm just sitting in my room, whatever, I feel like it's a little bit of a stress relief. But in the back of my mind, like, sometimes I'm thinking, like, this is probably, like, not good for
Yeah.
me. So I try to just, like, not use it all the time. I've honestly only not even gone through one bottle in the time that I've had the e-cig, like one bottle of juice.
Oh, wow.
I think I still have about half a bottle left. It's not like I use it, like, all the time, you know?
Okay. Well,
So,
good for you. I am personally against them, like hardcore against them. So I don't care that I don't care that you use it. Like,
Yeah.
you do you, man. Whatever helps you float your boat. But I don't know. I think about the future a lot, and I can totally see people that are currently using e-cigarettes now as teenagers growing up in 10 years, becoming addicted to cigarettes, and then going from there. Because that's totally realistic. People are doing it right now.
Yeah.
Like, people are becoming addicted to cigarettes because of e-cigs. So that, to me, is a huge problem, because now we're getting teens. Like, e-cigarettes were invented to reduce cigarette consumption.
And now they've kind of had the opposite
And it's like
effect.
the exact problem that they sought to destroy, right? Like,
Yeah.
that situation.
Yeah.
So it's kind of backfired, but we can totally control it. It's just so hard because so many people are using them now.
Yeah.
Like, people in high school, like last year, there was a certain percentage of high schoolers that were using e-cigs, and now it's
Yeah.
doubled this year, which is bonkers. And then there's like that, what is it called? The FDA is like advertising some weird stuff.
Yeah, did you see what they did with pulling the jewel pods off the
Yeah,
shelf?
yeah, that's
Basically, any of the flavors that would, like, appeal to kids, as
Yeah.
in, like, fruity flavors and whatever, have just been pulled so that they can become less appealing and hopefully, like, keep the younger kids off the vapes. But
yeah,
I don't think it's necessarily going to stop them. Like, if
No.
you're addicted to nicotine, you'll consume it by whatever means necessary, I
Yeah.
think. So, like, whether it's them turning to, like, a different flavor pod or
Mhm.
whatever, like, they're still going to be, or even if they want to start smoking cigarettes, like,
yeah,
they may think that they are helping. I guess, in a way, they're helping, like, future people from getting hooked on it. But, like, in the meantime, by you taking it away from the people that already use it, they're just gonna turn to, like, another
yeah,
way, I think, you know?
right. And so the FDA banned the selling of, like mango and tropical whatever. The only flavors that are currently available in Juuls are the tobacco flavor, the menthol flavor, and there's one more that's escaping my mind.
I think it was mint.
Mint.
Yeah.
So those are the three that Juul is still allowed to sell. But can you still buy the other ones on their website?
I'm not sure if it's from the website or whatever, but I know some people have still been getting their hands on them.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
That's sick. And like whatever. Like, yeah, now it's not going to be so appealing to younger kids, but now you still have the problem of other people like just turning to mint and still vaping. Like, that doesn't solve the issue. That solves the issue of more people becoming addicted to it, or at least minimizes the amount of people that are becoming addicted to it, because now those flavors are gone.
Well, they're not really gone, are they?
Right.
Well,
So
it's much harder for them to get them.
Yeah.
And now Juul has to go through this whole process of selling to people. Now you have to have like your ID. You have to. I think there's like this weird. I don't know the process, but in order to buy online, you have to have this weird ID thing that you have to go through. This ID process, I guess. There's this weird process that's super strict, but
I think that's good that they made it strict, because I feel that just ordering stuff online has become like way too easy.
Yeah.
It's not hard to just fake that year you were born. You
Right.
put 1990 or whatever.
Because
and
you have no way.
you
of
can pretty much
disproving it.
buy anything,
Yeah.
you know? So if they've like become stricter on that, that's definitely one way that they can crack down on like the underage people
Yeah,
trying
definitely.
to buy.
Yeah, which is a good step. It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. It's not going to solve anything.
Right.
But
We're not
at
going to
least
solve
a
anything
step.
right now. Like you could completely stop the sale of e-cigarettes in convenience stores, but there's still that online aspect.
Yeah.
Like the FDA can't ban Juul from selling Juuls. That's just not going to happen. They still will make it's their company.
Yeah.
They're going to sell them in some way, and if they're still selling Juuls, then people are still going to get their hands on them.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of stopping kids from becoming addicted to them in the first place. So, and then it's just on the people that sell them to regulate who they sell them to. Are we cool with that? I'm cool with that. I think we've said what we wanted to say.
Yeah.
Do you wanna bump it up to a more relevant topic?
Sure thing.
So marijuana. Woo! Boy. I don't know much about this. I know is Massachusetts it's not legal in
Is it I think it's legal in Massachusetts, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like one of 10 states that are currently legalizing marijuana, which is saying a lot considering it's Massachusetts.
Is it for recreational use or like medicinal?
You can
Yeah.
people are allowed to sell them. Like there are stores where you can just walk in and buy marijuana.
Yeah. Northampton, I believe it is the town like right next to UMass Amherst where I go to school. And they actually just opened up a dispensary and they've been getting a lot of business.
Yeah.
I imagine because it's UMass Amherst. Convenient.
Yeah.
So I get that there is a medicinal value to marijuana. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Is it like a soothing thing? Is it a pain relief? Do you know anything about it?
No,
yeah.
I know a bit about it. It's like, as you were saying, like it's a pain reliever, and some people will use it to treat glaucoma. I think it is actually too.
Oh, okay.
So like that was the whole thing. Like you'll hear people say like, I want to get my medical card, whatever. A lot of those people are just like potheads that want to be able to buy at the dispensaries and whatever else.
Yeah.
But the real reason that we have medical cards is because marijuana has like the medicinal benefits. It's it helps people with like pain relief and other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that's becoming like real popular is CBD, which is just like something that's found in marijuana.
Okay.
And like you can purchase it in the form of like oils and actually like vapes too, I believe. Oh, and they have gummies, so it's kind of like edibles, but like rather than getting you high, because THC is the stuff that gets you high, CBD doesn't have that effect, but it has the pain relief effect.
Oh, okay.
So people have been using that rather than like actually just like smoking weed. Although some people, right, because there's like not much of a side effect. It's more of just like literally like the medicinal aspect.
Yeah.
In terms of like pain relief, essentially, from my understanding, it's almost like if you were to take like aspirin,
right?
You know, something like that. It's like soothing and like whatever, but that doesn't get you high. But obviously, if you were to go purchase like some actual like, you know, leaves, then like you're gonna smoke that up, whatever. Like that will get you high, but like it could also have that effect of like reducing your pain, or some people even like if they have like a headache, they'll take it.
Wow.
Stuff like that.
Interesting. I didn't know there was I didn't know you could sell it in that form.
Yeah.
Is that like a new thing? Like, am I missing out on that train?
I feel like it's been around for like a little while, but it's definitely becoming like more and more popular. A lot of people are starting to like advertise it more.
Interesting. I didn't know. Wow, I didn't know that was a thing. Which, like, I'm trying to change. I don't know. I don't know what my goal is here. Maybe like change my view on it.
So I guess we have
maybe
to,
like enlighten my view on it.
What's your view?
Yeah, we have to ask what's your view.
I don't know. Like okay, so I'm against recreational use.
All right.
However, since there is a medicinal value to marijuana, I'm perfectly fine with people using it as a medical thing. It's just distinguishing on who needs it for medical reasons and who's using it just to smoke weed. Is
it's hard to
right. I don't know. Like That's my view. And I don't know if that's just a naive view. Like, am I just uneducated in this field? Like, is there a harmless, like, reason to use marijuana? Is that like is that a thing? Like, if I were to go out and buy marijuana right now, is there a negative effect that would have in the general scheme of things? Like, does giving me marijuana affect society's access to marijuana? Like, is there a reason why someone wouldn't want me to have marijuana? Is, I guess, what I'm asking. Like, I don't need it for medical value.
So are you saying that like, someone is going to give you marijuana so that you can just, like, get high for the fun of it?
Right. Like, is there
So-
some value to that I'm missing out on? Like,
so
is
you're,
there?
are you asking, like, why people want to get
Yeah.
high?
Like, why? Like,
Okay.
why?
Well, think about the name, like, what they call it, getting high.
Yeah.
You've heard, like, highs and lows, like, whatever. Being high is supposed to be something that is, like, fun and, like, makes you, like, feel good and stuff.
Mhm.
So I think that's how a lot of people, like, start to use it. It's because they have that idea in their head that what
Oh.
they're doing is going to be, like, this, like, fun experience.
Right.
And I think the reason that it has a reputation as, like, a gateway drug is because, like, people who smoke it, like, they'll get high, and then if they enjoy that, they'll assume that, like, being high on other stuff is just gonna be, like, the same thing. And
Right.
they'll, just like with, like, we were saying, like, with the nicotine, like, if you take away, like, one way of doing it, people will just find another
Right.
way. Like, you
Yeah.
could say that they can't smoke weed anymore, and they'll say, okay, like, I'll go pop pills instead,
Right,
or, like,
yeah.
do whatever else.
Yeah.
But so, like, in that aspect, like, you could consider it bad because you could think, like, well, if you start off this kid, like, smoking weed, maybe in the long run he's gonna end up, like, doing heroin.
Right.
But I think, honestly, like, my view of it was, like, you know, marijuana is, like, something that, like, yeah, it gets you high and whatever, but I think, like, anything in moderation is, like, okay. And I wouldn't go, like, recommending people to just, like, do drugs in the first place.
Yeah.
But I think, like, on the list of drugs, marijuana is definitely, like, the least, like,
yeah. It's the least
harmful,
of our worries
you know?
right now.
You know, like,
Like
exactly,
opioids are-
because honestly, you can equate it to alcohol. More people die from alcohol than they do from marijuana,
Good.
you know?
That's
So,
good for weed.
yeah.
No, I'm not saying like good people die. I'm just saying like alcohol is obviously more of an issue
Yeah.
than marijuana. Like it's
Yeah,
just a leaf
per-
that people smoke get high.
Per year, 0 people die from marijuana.
Wow.
Like, literally, there's been, like, one case where someone, I think it was actually a baby.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Why are you giving a baby weed? Don't
Wait,
bash
Wait,
me.
what?
But
Oh, she died? Or
Yeah.
he died?
Oh,
the
no.
baby, like, died because one of the side effects for when you're high, like, I don't know if this goes for everyone, but your heart will, like, start to race. And I think it was just too much for the little baby's heart.
Interesting.
You know?
That's a
So,
shame.
like-
Oh my goodness, are you okay over there?
Oh no, the poor baby.
Yeah, so in that case, like, it didn't work out so well. But other than that, like, a lot of times, like, you can equate it to just, like, getting drunk. And like I said, everything in moderation is, like, fine.
Yeah.
People don't overdose on weed, so that's, like,
Yeah.
a plus. I mean, obviously, you can definitely, like, drink too much. You can,
Yeah.
the equivalent of, like, overdosing on alcohol is, like, blacking out and then potentially, like, having to get your stomach pumped, getting alcohol poisoning, and maybe even dying, you know?
Wow.
So if
Painful
you're
process.
just, like, drinking in moderation, you know, like, drink or two, like, it doesn't really hurt anybody exactly. And, like,
Yeah.
if you smoke a little bit, you could get a little high, and that doesn't necessarily, like, hurt anything. Some people will argue that it, like, changes your brain a little bit, like, you lose brain cells or whatever. But, you know, it's the same thing. Like, if you just don't do it too much, it's, like, it's
But
not
it's-
necessarily, like, super bad.
It's just having that control, I guess. Like that self-control.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of
is
people.
hard for people.
Right. because they just think that, oh, like if I do this once and it's fun, like I guess I can do it all the time.
Yeah.
But it's like just like with me, like with the vape, like just because I have access to it
Yeah.
doesn't mean I have to use it all the time. You know,
Exactly.
if you have self control, I believe that like you can kind of handle like whatever. You know, like
Put that on a t-shirt.
I mean, I'm not. I don't want that to sound like I'm promoting
No, I get
drug
that.
use,
Yeah, no, I get that.
especially anything beyond weed. Because my
Yeah.
personal view of it, I'll just come out with it like I would never do anything other than weed. And
Yeah.
I have smoked weed before,
Okay.
but I've decided to stop.
Nice.
Not just because like I thought it was bad or whatever, but one of the uses that people have for it is that they use it to treat their anxiety because like the CBD that I
Yeah.
was telling you, whatever, it has some like soothing effects. Some people, you know, like your stereotypical like hippie like stoner dude, I
Right.
feel like you just imagine him as like being this like chill, like relaxed
Yeah.
dude. You know, like
Yeah.
he's got his little
Yeah, I get that.
thing in his hand and he's
Bro,
just like
right.
chilling, you know?
Yeah, he's hanging out.
But just like I was saying with the baby, like, you know, the fast heart rate and everything, that can get a little bit scary.
Yeah.
So one time I smoked about like half a gram's worth.
Mhm.
And so that's about like $5 worth of weed.
Right.
And it wasn't all in one sitting. I want to say I did like a quarter of a gram in like the late afternoon.
Mhm.
And then once it started to wear off, I went and like did the rest of it. So what ended up happening was like when I was having the rest of it, I was just like feeling fine like in the moment. But what tends to happen is like it just kind of hits you like after the fact. You
Right.
don't really feel it like while you're doing it,
Yeah.
but then all of a sudden like it all just like slap you in the face,
Right.
you know? And so like as I walked back inside, I was just like, whoa, like this
Mhm.
is like a bit much.
Mhm.
And I didn't really know like how to handle it. I just felt my heart like racing and everything. And honestly, like it was just giving me anxiety.
Mhm.
And at the time, I didn't even know I had it. But from there on, like I've been suffering with anxiety like
damn.
pretty bad. And when I went to a therapist to just like discuss it, she told me about how marijuana and like other drugs, that sensation of like being high, like sometimes it will soothe people and like relax them and like
Yeah.
help their anxiety, at least in the moment. But a lot of times with like marijuana and alcohol and whatever, like after the fact, it just makes it like bad in the long run.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was the case because like I was probably high for like more than 3 hours, which was like 3 hours is like a pretty like long high. Like
Yeah.
that's usually when you should like expect to be like going back to normal.
Mhm.
And I felt like I was still like blasted. And I was just like, what is wrong? Like what was in that? Like, you know? So
Yeah.
after that, like the next day I woke up and I was like scared that I was just like still high. And I didn't know, like I just felt so anxious. And what I realized was that I wasn't actually feeling high still. I was just feeling anxious that the high was never gonna go away.
Oh.
So knowing that piece of information, I feel like it's possible for someone like me to go and like smoke again and have like a good experience. But in the back of my mind, I just know that it's not really for me. Like it just
Mhm.
doesn't agree with me. And so in that sense, like I don't think that it's for everyone, but I do think that people who just like want to smoke every once in a while should like be able to. Like it's their choice how they
Yeah.
want to spend their money, and I think it's honestly like pretty good for the economy, especially when you can tax it and
Mhm.
whatever else. Like people have their reasons. Like if they're just trying to have a fun night, I don't see it really like much different from just like going out and drinking. So if that's going to be legal for people, like why not allow them to smoke weed too?
That's a fair point. Fair.
What?
No,
No.
you just kind of seem like glazed over.
Oh, sorry. I know I'm good. I'm listening. I'm listening.
No, I think that's a good point. Yeah, obviously it is good for the economy. For an economy that's suffering right now. But yeah, I see it. Well, now I have a different view. Well, not different, but I have
More
a more
educated.
educated view. Moving on. Music.
Yes, sir.
You're a rapper.
Yeah.
Aspiring rapper, we could say. Is that fair?
Really?
I guess you could call it aspiring, but like I do rap, so I think that makes me a rapper.
Completely legit.
I mean, I wouldn't say successful,
That's fine.
but
This
like
isn't a
rapper.
successful podcast. We're
You
still
know
doing
what I
it.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on a podcast. It doesn't have to be successful.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Still podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a rap guy, but I still appreciated. What was the one he did with Rio?
Oh yeah, that's
That was a good
a
one.
song called "Without That." People don't actually like know this, I feel, but that started out as just a solo song with me in it,
Oh,
and so I actually wrote the hook, and I had 2 verses on there, and so Rio is like a good friend of my producer, Jai Cyrene, and his brother.
okay.
So we talked to Rio about it, and we told him that like we were trying to just put a mixtape together like before I went off to school. It was just kind of like our summer project.
Yeah.
Because a couple of years back, we were in the basement of my friend, and he just pulled out his computer, and he was just like, "Yo, like look what I did," and I was just like, "What's that?" And he goes, "I made like a beat. Like we should try to just like make a rap song, like just for the fun of it." And I was thinking like that would actually be like kind of cool, like if we could just like make something,
That's cool.
And so we had been talking about it, like I said, for like a whole like 2 years before anything like really came out of it. Throughout that whole time, the 2 of us had just been working like every once in a while. If I had anything like come to my mind in terms of like lyrics or whatever, like I just jot it down on the notes in my phone.
Cool.
And for Jai Cyrene, my producer, he would just like make beats whenever like he got the chance.
Mhm.
We had a handful. I want to say he's made a total of like 10 or 12 by this time.
Wow.
And a few of them, I was just like, these are like really good. Like we need to do something with them,
Mhm.
So the first song that we actually did was the one. Well, actually, the first song that we made was a complete like spoof. I just went in there. He played this like beat that he made in 2 seconds. It was pretty much all bass, and I just freestyled. And then we were just like, all right, we're gonna put this up. Just like get the word out. Young Woody's a rapper. All right. So like we got everybody a little bit like caught off guard. It was garbage. All right. I'm not even
You
gonna
pull it up right
lie.
now?
Like it was. I took it down because like
Oh, you did?
yeah, I'm not a fan of that by any means. It was literally just for laughs. I hope whoever heard that doesn't take me seriously and think that like that's what my music is.
Yeah.
So, just forget that. But then like we released a single, and I don't know why. I can't remember. Oh, it was Switching Lanes.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
that song Switching Lanes, we actually used the cover art that Jai Cyrene just like drew up on his computer, and
Not bad.
we put that out on SoundCloud, and I was like posting it on my Snapchat and whatever, and we got like a little bit of attention for it, just like from people around the town, everywhere, like close by, just people that I was like friends with and whatever, just like
Mhm.
telling me that they thought that it came out nice, and I was just like, thanks, like, like we were kind of just like having fun, but like I've started to like take it a
Cool.
bit more like seriously,
That's awesome.
So one time I was actually out with my friends, and these friends that I was with were actually under the influence of marijuana, and I did not partake, but I was just chilling with them, and we were outside the parking lot of 99,
Uh-huh.
and the 99 was like super packed, and they wouldn't let us like get a table for at least like another hour or so. And we were just like, nah, man, like we're hungry. We need to just like go somewhere else. But while we were in the parking lot, the two of them were just like, in their like hypnotic state, just like spewing all the stuff that came to their mind. And they were just
Nice.
like acting like some like conspiracy like theorists, talking about how like America was just like controlled by like corporations and all this stuff. It was some like pretty like deep stuff. And one of the things they said was that they felt like in the moment, just like the seconds were just like moving too fast. So I wrote down like a bunch of the stuff that they said in my notes. And one day I was just looking back at my notes and I was just like, seconds moving too fast. And that's how I got the hook for that song.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I started writing the full
Wow.
hook, and Rio told us that we could come over and record some songs. And he heard that song and he was just like, bro, like, can I get a verse on this? And I was like, absolutely. Like, I've been wanting to work with you. Like, I think you're like a good artist. You're definitely like a talented kid. I want to get you on here. Like, let's do it. So he put the whole song together for me. So Jai Cyrene produced the beat and whatever, and then we recorded on Rio's mic, and he did the mixing and mastering, and he put his own verse in there. So he sent it over, and I hadn't heard what he did because we left his house before he put that verse together.
Mm-hmm.
So I got an email when I was in Boston with my girlfriend, and Rio sent me a message, and he's just like, go check the song. Like, I'm done mixing and mastering. And then I was just like, dude, that came out like so good. Like,
wow.
he ended up taking over, I think 2 of the hooks, and he put a verse on there, and it just came together like really nice.
Wow.
And I feel like that's tended to be like most people's favorite song off the project, and I really enjoyed working with him, and I'm
Nice.
actually supposed to be working with him again sometime soon. We have another song in the works, produced by Jai Cyrene once again. And
Sweet.
I'm just hoping to get together with him possibly in the next like week or 2 to go record that.
Interesting. Wow, I didn't know it started out as your own song. Wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool how deep production goes into
Yeah.
some stuff. Like, I didn't know music was this demanding. Jeez. Good for you. Anything else you want to discuss on it?
If you haven't already, please go check out that whole mixtape.
We will
There's
link it.
6 songs.
Oh, yeah. That
And
was a
then
good
there's
one.
one single. I don't think it's as good, honestly, as the mixtape, but I had fun making it. And
Oh, wow.
that's what matters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's what you love doing.
Yeah.
Are you gonna like do this as a career or something, or like what are you going to school for?
Right now, I'm in school for economics. I was looking to get into like marketing, so I'd love to like work for some companies, just like doing commercials or whatever else. But I feel like also just learning the strategies behind marketing will allow me to market my own music, and
Sweet.
we'll see like what happens from there. I'm not gonna come out and tell you like, oh yeah, like 10 years from now you'll see me on the top
Yeah.
of the charts or anything.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not like that, but I will say like that I think that I'm like pretty good at what I do. I don't know that our like production value is like the greatest at the moment, but
Mhm.
like we're only getting better. Like those were literally the first 6 songs that I made, and we put them all on a project that I'm actually proud of. Like,
Yeah. That's
you
good.
know, I feel like it's only like up from here, and I just want people to like come along for the ride, and please like bear with me like in the learning process. I just hope that I can get better and make some really good music for
So you're
everyone.
definitely going to continue this as a hobby?
Yeah, I mean, like with my anxiety and everything, music has always been like something that helps me just like escape,
Mhm.
whether it's like listening to my favorite songs or trying to make my own. And for like as long as I can remember, it's just been like a big part of my life, and it's what I enjoy. I love
Good for you.
when artists drop new music. Like, it just gets me excited, and I enjoy dropping my own music, and I want to get other people excited the same way that I
get
am
that.
for my favorite artist.
Nice. I think we're in a similar boat in in the podcast, getting people excited about a podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy the thrill. I don't know if you do.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I get pretty thrilled when you drop a name.
Ah, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
No, honestly, I want to say I'm probably your biggest fan.
Thanks, Trevor.
I've listened to every episode, if that makes you...
Legit?
Yeah.
Damn.
No, seriously. Like, I actually really enjoy the podcast. Like, I just feel like it's entertainment at its purest.
Comedy gold, guys. Yeah, I'm excited to drop this one because I think I definitely wanted to talk about this stuff, like drugs, marijuana, that stuff. But also, I think it's good to get into your mind and your music business, I guess we would call it. That's pretty cool. I didn't know it was this detailed.
Yeah.
Wow. A lot of effort goes into that, seems.
Definitely.
Which is cool. Anything you want to talk about, Cass?
Nope.
How's school going? General stuff.
Yeah, I mean, school's going pretty well. Excuse me.
Wait,
Yeah, no, I'm good. We just wrapped up first semester, obviously. I think my grades
no pun
were
intended.
in as of, like, 2 days ago. To be completely honest, I haven't checked them yet. But I know that
Makes sense.
I did well, like, for the most part. The one that I definitely struggled in was my world religion class.
Ah.
I felt that was just, like, a big challenge because, I mean, one of the assignments was my friend Jay and we went to a monk temple.
Whoa.
And
Dang.
we had to sit in for a ritual and then describe it. So, mind you, like, we didn't even know when the ritual started. We honestly just thought that we could, like, pull up to the place, like, at whatever time and just, like, scope it out, whatever. Yeah, they were in the middle of it. And
Oh, no.
so we walked in there
Right,
and
right.
there was just these two bald dudes doing their thing. And we were just like, what is going on? And they're just doing their chants and they're like hitting the drums and whatever. And they're wearing like nothing except a robe. And we were just like, man, what? So we probably watched the last like 30 to 45 minutes of like whatever was going on.
Was it interesting?
It definitely was interesting. It's nothing like anything I've taken part in before.
Wow.
And I mean, I gotta say, like, the temple was like really cool. I just wish that I had a better understanding of like what was happening.
Yeah.
So literally, like, that project was for a 6-page paper where I had to describe what I was seeing. And for the life of me, I could not tell you what I was seeing.
Wow.
That was quite a challenge.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Just walking in the middle of two dudes.
Yeah. I mean, we tried to talk to them after the thing was over.
Oh.
Because, like, we knew that we weren't going to be able to write a paper on what we just saw.
Yeah.
So we had to gain some insight, like, firsthand. Just ask them a little bit, like, so what was that ritual? What does it consist of? And, like, what does it mean to you guys?
Mm-hmm.
And I kid you not, this guy had, like, the thickest accent I have ever heard.
Wow.
And it was just, like, just as much of a struggle to understand what was going on because, like, I couldn't understand what he was saying to us for the most part.
Yeah.
I know that he was talking about like how basically like Buddhism is just something that like stemmed from the Buddha himself, and he went on this journey of enlightenment, and they basically like follow in his footsteps, and they're able to become enlightened by taking part in these rituals. They do the chants and everything. Believe they do it twice a day. And just by living their life with like minimal like physical possessions and whatnot allows them to basically become enlightened just as the Buddha was. So I talked a lot about that in my paper
Yeah.
because I didn't know what else to talk about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
But for the most part, school's been going all right.
Nice. I know you have some friends at school
Yep.
that are from Pembroke.
Yeah.
Are they doing good?
Yeah, everyone, well, for the most, yeah, no, now everyone's doing great.
Oh, wait, now?
Yeah, no, there was like, I don't know. You know, it's crazy because I feel like despite being in college, I get caught up in so much like drama that should have been like left back in high
Yeah.
school.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I can relate.
And for the longest time, I think that was just like, still going on, but it's finally kind of like come to a
Settle
halt.
down.
Yeah.
Cool.
I feel like now I can just like focus on being in the moment rather than like
Nice.
senior year,
Yeah,
Mm.
people like to take things farther than they should be taken.
Definitely.
Cool.
I got nothing.
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I mean, one thing I definitely wanted to
Let's
say
go.
was
Let's
just
do
that
it.
I felt pretty attacked when you
Oh.
said that you enjoyed podcasts more than music.
Oh,
Yes.
That one stung, dude.
I mean,
No defense.
do I have to lie and say that I enjoy music more than podcasts?
Yeah, I mean, you just told me it was a lie, so it's not gonna help.
Well, no. So here's the thing, right? I like both, but if I'm on like a road trip or something, catch me listen to a podcast.
I mean, but why? Because podcasts, you have to listen more to understand.
We've talked about this.
I know, but I want to go back and understand why you
Yeah.
why you
Because-
like it better.
Okay, so is it a 2 versus 1? Like, are you
Yeah.
music,
Yes.
music? Okay.
Exactly. Cassie would rather listen to Young Woody than a podcast.
Honestly, probably true.
Yeah.
Well, no. So I have a not necessarily a schedule, but like a schedule. At home, I listen to music primarily. When I'm on the road, when I'm doing, mundane tasks that don't require a lot of attention, I listen to podcasts because I think those require a lot more concentration to actually enjoy versus music when it's just like, bottom to a beat, listen to some person singing. That's my view.
Mm.
So, in your opinion, is music not deep?
Oh.
No, it is. It is deep.
I think you just implied
No,
the opposite.
Music is
Yeah.
deep, but podcasts require a lot more attention to actually understand what's going on. Like you're listening to a person talk and you have to comprehend what they're saying.
Yeah, that's just exhausting.
Well, that's why I do it when I'm doing mundane tasks. Right, Cass?
Mm.
Like with the program.
Mm.
I can give you an example of
All right.
a song where it requires just as much thought, in my opinion.
Yeah?
Not sure if you're familiar with the song Nikes by Frank Ocean,
Never heard of it.
but essentially, like, as the title would suggest, like, he talks about, like, Nike shoes and whatever, but
Mhm.
he basically uses that as, like, a metaphor. And the whole song is, like, basically a big, like, just, like, it's a bunch of metaphors and kind of like a big story. And a lot of the lines have, like, double or even like triple meanings, and it requires like a lot of interpretation. So if you pull it up on like the Genius page, you
Mhm.
can go in and like see like
Yeah.
the meanings behind like all the stuff that he's talking about. One example is he says like fish scales and like mermaid tails or whatever. So to the like regular listener, that could just sound like a mermaid tail or whatever, but like he uses the word fish scale because that's actually like a slang term for like high quality cocaine. So in that line, he's like talking about drugs. And if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't catch that. Just
Huh.
as if you're not paying attention to a podcast, you won't catch it.
Right. But podcasts are longer.
They are
Which
longer.
Exactly.
Is annoying.
No, but they typically you listen to them when you have enough time to listen to them.
Mm.
Right?
But if you don't have as much time, you can listen to Frank Ocean
Hey, look.
or Young Woody.
One of the two. They're interchangeable. I get it. I listen to music. I probably have more hours listening to music than listening to podcasts.
Well, then why are you saying that you like listening to podcasts? Jason?
because I have recently.
I mean, I'm just.
Well, no, if you look at from the time I started getting into podcasts to now, I've probably listened to more podcasts in terms of minutes than music. Because typically
Didn't
I'm
you
not
just
just
say
at
the
home
opposite?
doing nothing. What?
Didn't you just say the opposite?
Yeah, that contradicts what
No,
you
no, no, no,
said.
no, no, no. I've been listening to music longer in terms of how long I've been listening to music. So, like, I've been listening
Just
to
like
music
over
for,
time.
Yeah, over time.
Okay, you
So,
gotta
like, I've been
clarify.
listening to music this long, but I've only been listening to podcasts this long. But in this time span, I've listened to more podcast time than music time.
Hmm.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
I
Well, because I'm on the road more. Like when I'm commuting to school, I'm listening to a podcast. Because the train ride is 45 minutes plus subways. So more time to listen to a podcast.
So I gotta ask, like, what's your favorite podcast? What podcast do you listen to?
I can pull it up right now.
Do you have any recommendations?
I do have recommendations. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's pull up my library. Okay, let's start from the bottom. The one I've been listening to the most. Ear Biscuits with Rhett and Link.
Oh, Rhett and Link from Good Mythical Morning.
That sounded like a very, like, oh, right, like staged. But no, it is them.
No, I know Rhett and Link.
Personally, of course.
Well, not personally.
No, personally. It's okay.
Like-
You can. It's just a funny podcast, like funny to lighten my mood. I listen to that. So there's that. Also, I have plugged these in the past, but there are a few political ones that I listen to that I have particularly enjoyed. So the first one, it's called Slow Burn. It delves into the Clinton scandal and the Watergate scandal with Nixon. Basically everything you've ever wanted to know about those scandals, you'll listen to that. So there's that. Check it out. Trump Inc., my most recent addition to the library. Like the name suggests, it's about Trump. Not in I don't want to make this political. I don't like Trump. I don't like Trump. But I didn't know a lot about him, so I grabbed that podcast, and I have a lot of questions that have been answered. Two more. American Scandal. It's by Wondery. It's basically it's about like crime, like big scandals, big crime scandals, like sports scandals. There was one that I liked.
Like the Gardner Museum heist?
Well,
Is that
not
the
well,
one?
yeah, like that, but they don't do an episode or a season. Like every season is one scandal. There was one. Oh man, I'm gonna forget. Iran, no. If I remember, I'll grab it. There was some Olympics one, but I forget what one it was called. Last one, Unobscured. This was the very first episode of this podcast that I talked about it, but it's about the Salem witch trials.
Oh, yeah.
That
Oh.
one.
I remember that one.
Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's my library. Every time they upload an episode, I'm typically there.
Solid.
What can I say? I'm a sucker for podcasts.
Hmm.
It's more of like the learning aspect, I guess. Give me
Yeah.
that information. I'm dying for that information. Do you listen to podcasts at all?
I tried like listening to one podcast because it was late at night and I figured it would like help me go to sleep. But I feel like, all right, little background. I used to watch the show River Monsters, and that guy
okay.
Jeremy
Oh,
Wade,
yeah.
Yeah.
his accent is so dope. And it's like mad soothing, and like that show would just like put me to sleep like so easily.
Because it's
It was
boring.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
It's not even like that it's boring because like I enjoyed watching the episodes,
Mhm.
but more so I think I just enjoyed his voice.
Nice.
No homo. But yeah, so like I kind of just wanted to like find a podcast with like some kind of like cool voice that would just like talk
Twin
me to
Talk.
sleep.
Ryan
see,
Cassidy.
that's the problem. As I'm about to get into, I think that Twin Talk would just like keep me awake because I'll find myself getting too interested.
Yeah, of course, right.
So what I ended up doing was looking up some podcast about like space or something. I don't remember the name, but I turned that on and I was hoping that it would just like be some background noise like while I fell asleep, but I found myself getting so interested in what they were talking about that I couldn't sleep. I had to shut it off because I was
Wow.
just like learning too much about space.
Interesting. Did you want to talk about space? I remember you
I mean,
mentioning it.
I don't necessarily know like a whole
Yeah, I
lot
don't know
about it,
much about
but
it.
I'm definitely like interested in space.
Like hypothetically, what is beyond this universe? If it's just the universe, what's beyond it?
Does it go like a bunch of universes in a galaxy, or like
No,
is it the other way
galaxies
around?
into the
Galaxies in a universe.
From
Okay.
my understanding.
I believe so.
Okay.
Like our solar system is in a galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, which is among other galaxies in this entire universe.
Right.
Gotcha.
There are hundreds of thousands of galaxies that we know about, supposedly. How do we know about that?
Yeah, how do we?
Big microscope.
Like,
I mean, telescopes.
microscopes. We really got to get down to that microscopic level to determine what's beyond this galaxy.
No, telescopes.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, it's all good. I get it.
What's your take on like extraterrestrial life though?
It exists.
I definitely think it exists.
Oh yeah, like it would be just like stupid if it wasn't.
It would be ignorant to say that
Yeah.
there is
Yeah.
no extraterrestrial life
Definitely.
because we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, just like by probability, I feel like there has to be. I'm
Yeah.
not saying they're gonna be anything like us, but there's some kind
Yeah.
of life there has to be. I feel.
The universe is constantly expanding.
Yeah,
Yep.
just like your brain after listening to those podcasts.
Exactly. You can see my head expanding, not exploding. Not from ego. Just from all that information. How old is How old is it?
How old
2,000
is-
years, bro. Check the Bible.
Yeah, duh. Obviously. Well, even the Bible says it's 6,000 years.
I wouldn't know. I don't read the Bible.
I don't read the Bible
Sorry.
either. I don't read it.
Do you think that God created the universe, though?
I don't believe there's a God.
I agree with that.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Why?
I thought you were religious in some way.
What?
Not
made
hardcore.
You
Not
think
hardcore.
that?
Just
What made you?
Are you
think that?
stereotyping?
No, I'm
Yeah.
not
The
stereotyping. at all.
stereotypical SoundCloud rapper who believes in God.
He's a rapper. He's religiously guided towards the
Yeah.
towards the Enlightenment. You know. No, I just thought you were religious in some way. I just didn't think. Wow. All right. Interesting. So you don't think a God exists? Period.
Nah, dude. I went to church when I was little for the snacks. All right. Like, they had like Cheetos and donuts after, and I was
church
just
did
like,
you go to? We didn't have that.
We didn't.
yeah,
have
no,
that.
it was someplace. I used to live in like South Plymouth, but my grandparents would drag me actually up here to some place in like Pembroke, like off exit 12 or something. I forget what the
okay.
place is called,
I don't know.
but they would just come up and I would not pay attention to what was going on. And I barely wanted to be there, but afterwards they would have some dope snacks. And I would just eat it up and I'll be like, well, that was my treat for the day.
yeah. Totally the church part. Yeah.
Yeah, so over time, I was just like, nah, like, you're not dragging me to that anymore. And I was just like,
So it was more of like you didn't want to be there versus like you genuinely didn't think it was.
well, over time, like, I feel like the school system, like, contributed to my beliefs because, like,
Oh.
you start to learn about, like, science and evolution and everything. And it just, like, steers me away from the idea that, basically, like, some, like, God and, like, supernatural stuff has any, like, factor in our daily lives, you know?
Yeah. For me, like I know Cassidy, you're on the opposite end
Yeah.
of the spectrum. But I'm not. No, that wasn't. I wasn't
I
laughing
know,
at you. I was
yeah.
just saying. Like for me, it's just like prove it. Prove that there's a God, and
Yeah.
you can't.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
No, I don't know how to prove it. Is my problem.
Well, you can't.
But you can prove science.
Exactly. Like
So-
evolution, for example.
Right.
There's countless amounts of
Oh,
evidence
yeah.
for evolution. You got fossils. You got, humans. We have those little tails. Tailbone
Yeah.
suggests we evolved from something more.
Monkey-like.
Yeah. Well, we didn't evolve directly from monkeys, but
Right, but like something kind of more similar to that.
yeah, a common ancestor.
Yeah.
The common misconception is that we evolved from monkeys. We actually didn't evolve from monkeys. Well,
Right.
supposedly. We evolved alongside monkeys from a common ancestor.
Yeah.
Monkeys just turned out different from humans.
Mm-hmm.
So our common ancestor has an opposable thumb, much like monkeys and humans have opposable thumbs. Yep, that's my view. I don't know. Do you want to elaborate on it? Or do you want to
No.
just move on?
I mean, I see your points.
Yay.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I get your point.
Yeah.
I completely get your point.
Mm-hmm.
I just disagree with it.
That's fair.
Hey, and you disagree with mine.
Well, no,
That's
I
perfectly fine.
believe in evolution. Like, obviously, that's like a stated fact.
Oh.
I feel like some like hardcore religious people just like
Yeah.
don't
Creationism.
even believe in evolution, and it's just like, how are you gonna argue with
Well,
like,
because
that evidence?
because they take the Bible so literally.
See, that's the defense that I think that the people who are religious have, is that like it's sort of like open to interpretation. Like you can argue to me
Yeah.
all day that like the stuff written in the Bible is not necessarily like word for word the
Mhm.
truth. I feel like it could definitely be like a lot of metaphors that are just supposed to be like a simplified way of describing like what actually
Yeah.
did happen, because not a lot of people can wrap their heads around like the truth.
Yeah.
And in that sense, like I completely respect that, but I'm not gonna sit here and have you tell me that like evolution is just like not real.
Yeah.
You know?
And the problem is, you have to interpret the Bible. Like, how
Yeah.
are you supposed to interpret the Bible?
Right.
Like, there's
Mhm.
so many ways you can interpret the Bible, and there's really technically only one way that it's supposed to be interpreted. We just don't know which way, which is kind of unfortunate for a religion. But moving on. Anything else? Hit us up. Hit us with a topic. Hit us with a statement. Make a statement. Have us discuss it. Anything?
I got nothing.
Nothing.
No, I think we covered a lot of stuff.
We covered, what was it, drugs, and then, no, e-cigs, then drugs. No, e-cigs, marijuana, then drugs. And
Then music.
Music,
Then
space,
Yes. Then religion.
then religion. Hit a
Yeah.
lot of stuff. You wanna call it here?
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Trevor, thank you for coming.
Thank
This
you for
was
having me, man.
Of
very interesting,
course.
actually.
Yeah.
A lot more interesting than I thought it would be.
Wow, that
No,
That's like a backhanded compliment.
Ow.
Not an attack on you. I just
Ooh.
thought we were just gonna talk like drugs, but we expanded to a lot more than
Yeah.
just that, which is cool. Cool.
Yeah.
We do have the lame sheet. Sign it here.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's kind of lame, but it's fine. It's just so that we can have your signature for whatever we want. I mean,
That
for-
sounds really creepy.
no, it's nothing illegal.
It seems pretty illegal.
Nah. We don't have a lot of signatures.
You're just gonna like forge checks and stuff?
No. How dare you accuse me of that?
I don't know.
I'm only going to help people get their checks processed. That's all. All right, Trevor, thank you for coming.
Oh my
We will plug pretty much everything you want. We will plug your SoundCloud, Snapchat, Instagram. Anything else? Twitter?
Twitter?
Cool. We'll plug those in the description and
Sweet.
give it a follow. His music is very interesting. Check it out.
Thank you.
Cool. We're done here. Peace out.
All right. Hey, guys.
I pointed at her to like, you go, you're on. She's like, hey guys. She like didn't know what to say. You say the same thing every time. Hey guys.
Yay. Thanks for listening to our episode with Trevor.
Yep.
It was awesome having him on the
What
show.
if they just skipped to the very end and they didn't listen to the episode? They just listened to the intro, the dope intro music, and then skip to the very end
Then why would someone do that?
because they want to be a rebel.
Loser. Okay.
What?
Anyway.
They're not losers.
Yeah, they are.
They're rebels.
Thank you for
I
listening
like
to
that.
the podcast.
Gosh.
Um,
Judgmental.
it was fun.
Gosh.
Uh, follow us wherever you're listening to this.
Yep.
Also follow our Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. Follow Trevor,
You wanna-
Instagram, Snapchat, blah blah blah. He raps, so he does music and stuff. I'm trying to remember all to say. Yeah.
Basically, everything that you want to know about Trevor is going to be in the description. We're going to link all of his social media. We're going to link his SoundCloud. He does write and perform music. He
Mhm.
raps. Pretty good stuff.
Stuff. All right. Cool.
Yep,
It's been great.
it has been great.
Bye.
Peace out.